And now, the conclusion to Dr. Freedom and Eric, Volume 2, Death Moon. Okay, everybody, shut it! We need to warn them off.
Well, good luck with that. The tracker burnt out a couple minutes after the subwave signal went out.
It was a prototype, like the ship.
Eric, do we have anything that'll transmit a warning past the dome?
Negative.
If we only had some sort of means to contact them, I could direct them to our rescue.
The smart thing to do would be to tell them to turn tail and get out of this sector.
We have to take up Tana before that fleet gets here.
We could use the ordnance off the Hawks.
Oh, aye. And you're not forgetting about the 4 giants outside, laddie.
He's right. They'll see us and try to stop us.
And you all already know what'll happen if you march on Central Dogma.
None of us have high enough concentration of Zolanite in our systems yet for her to drain us.
It's not an option anyway. Flight 91 was a training mission. No live ordnance. Even with our biggest guns, she'd find a way to hold us off. Angus, how long on repairs to the Derbyshire?
Thrusters and boosters are working now, boss. But still no power drive or hyperspace. I gotta say, we're talking at least 4 days here.
The fleet will be here in 12 hours. They'll swoop in and we'll all be saved.
They'll be slaughtered. Tana may be getting long in the tooth, but she still has claws.
Could we use the Hawks to escape?
Sadly, the Gen Benayas were using them for target practice. There are holes all over the ships. It would take days to patch them all.
Bloody dumb bears.
Aye, which kinda sucks, because the hyperspace on that second Hawk that you brought back was in pretty good nick. Bloody Jabenians. They make Yogi Bear look intelligent for back in his days in Jellystone Park.
Well, don't look at me. The Fitz won't make another orbit, let alone escape after 8 centuries.
An old J-class starship for an escape? With old-style warp drive? I'd rather just commit seppuku right now.
The fail-safes would have kicked in anyway on landing and the antimatter shunted into duralinium capsules. No warp drive, even if her structural integrity withstood another orbit.
We basically need to get this dome down, take off, and jump off into hyperspace before Tanaha can snare us in another gravity beam.
That's just wonderful. All you need now is a working ship with a working hyperdrive.
We could signal the fleet to attack the dome.
One shot right in the delicates would literally end all of our troubles.
And how are we going to signal them? Remember? No transmitter. What are we going to do? Paint a big red X on the dome? And even if we did, it would literally end all our troubles.
Trust our lives to Alliance gunners. I'd rather take my chances with Bob's suicide ritual.
I could aid you with that.
Eric, don't get trigger happy. Pappy, what about any of the other ships out there?
Most of them things been sitting out there for millennia, and have shard in there I can't even pretend to understand. The only recent crashes besides you and the Hawks was the Gen Benians, and their ship split open on impact. I always hated having to deal with the Gen Benias or Gen Benians or whatever they call themselves these days. Filthy claws, nasty breath, and just plain ugly.
Claws. Working hyperdrive.
Why is Phillip rubbing the back of his neck like he's having some sort of a seizure?
Oh no!
Oh no, he's right.
His chip is kicking in.
I hope he doesn't crap himself this time.
He's not going to hurl, is he?
Somebody better get them up. We're gonna need a cleanup on aisle 5.
Hawks have claws.
I think he's finally lost the plot and gone round the bend. He's gone nuts. He's gone doolally.
No, he hasn't. Hawks have claws.
The Mark 9 Hawk was originally designed as an interceptor, but it also had one other nifty innovation. We had very little intel on the Space Clown's technology back during the war, so they gave the Hawk grappling claws so they could grab onto smaller vessels, pull them back into hyperspace, and take them back to base intact for study.
Piggyback!
You got it, Doc. Bosun, I need you to get into the main computer and bring up the hull schematics for the Derbyshire, specifically the locations of the main hull supports and crossbar structures. After that, get Superfly and tell him to get in that Hawk and learn all he can about the grappling claws and how to use them. He's going to have to make one hell of a precision landing.
On it, boss!
Bob, I want you outside with Cyborg Steve. If those giants so much as twitch, I want you on the horn warning us.
You got it, boss man.
You're going to land one of the Hawks on top of the Derbyshire.
Would you listen to yourself, man? How can we take off with all that weight?
Dolomite. We dumped the dolomite we picked up back on Hojo into the reaction chambers. It'll boost our thrust. Now Angus, go get a cargo loader and start moving the dolomite towards the injection manifolds. Now remember though, once it's poured in...
Ah, crap. The reaction starts. Once more into the breach.
I just had a thought. You may not be able to transmit out, but signals that are strong enough can get in.
Okay, Sparks. I want you to get on the horn and begin listening for any incoming transmissions. Now Marenghi, you go with them and help. Now Toasty, you may also want to be nearby so when the dome does come down, you can order your fleet off the safety.
And how, may I ask, are you going to make the dome come down?
And what makes you think I'm going to take orders from you? While this lot is going on, what do you think you're going to be doing?
Eric and I are going to kill Tanamaku. I set the crew off to their tasks. Well, after I let them pick their jaws up off the ground. We had a lot to do, and very little time to do it in. Eric followed me below decks to the workshop. Eric was always good at tactics, and a good plan was the only thing that was going to save our necks. The Bosun and Superfly handled the landing of the Hawk on top of the Derbyshire.
50 meters. 40 meters. Steady. Steady. 30 meters. 20. 10. 5. Contact. Who out on the lines?
Meanwhile, Sparks had set up a remote link so he could route long-range communication through the Hawk that was now sitting on top of the Derbyshire.
Obsolete, outdated, rubbish piece of crap.
That's my communication console you're making fun of.
It's so old, every transmission has sideburns and flares, let alone the Imperial combat frequencies.
I can and I will. It's just a matter of coaxing them in.
Look, you're not tuning it right, first of all. Come on, let me have a go.
Stop touching that and get out of my way.
Look, you're getting the frequency setting right. Now
listen here. You touch my knob one more time and I'll break your arm.
If you knew how to use your knob, it wouldn't be this hard.
I'll come back later.
While all this was going on, I had Belcher working on a couple of projects I assigned him. One was to get my swoosh bike out of storage and ready to fly. The other, well, involved some of the crew helping him remove something special from the Hawk outside. And then, just under 9 hours later, the radio came back to life. And so did the 4 giants standing outside. Has anyone seen Pappy lately?
Nobody has seen him in a while.
Boss, we're top heavy. If those giants start pushing on the hull...
They could push us over and then we're toast.
What was that?
That's Eric letting me know he's in position. He's gonna slip out the starboard maintenance hatch. We're hoping that Tana's so focused on me that she's not gonna see him leaving.
What's the EVA suit for?
If all goes well, the dome's gonna be coming down within the next few minutes. 5 minutes after I fly out of this cargo bay, start pouring the dolomite into the fuel cells. Remember, you have to put it to full burn before critical mass or it's gonna blow the ship up. Savvy?
What is this?
My swoosh bike. With this little baby, I'll be at Central Dogma inside of 5 minutes.
And where was this when we needed it back on Hojo?
In storage. I wasn't taking this thing down to Hojo. It would have been stolen. That and a good bracing walk doesn't kill anybody.
You're not coming back, are you, John?
That remains to be seen. Keep an eye on our guests, button up the ship, and be ready to leave when the dome goes down. We're only going to have one shot at this. Rory, Bill, if things go sideways, there's documents in my office. All is taken care of. Good luck. I had lied to them back in the hangar. The EVA suit wasn't for an escape. It was to hide the 30 blocks of solanite I had fashioned into a vest that I now wore underneath it. Enough to blow up Mount Everest and most of Tibet. The trigger was right next to my comm switch on my forearm. This is endgame. This is the time when you have to make the call you don't want to make. But the choice was obvious. Tanamaku or the rest of the war universe. I opened up my comm in all frequencies then, and I said,
Tanamaku, I know where your sister Kingu is. Back off the Giants or you will never learn her location. I am en route to you now. Let the Derbyshire go and I will give you the information personally. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Hello, Tana.
I have kept my part of the bargain, Dr. Freedom. Where is my sister?
Well, before we get to that, there's some things you said and not said that trouble me, Tana.
That is irrelevant.
Maybe to you, but for starters, you and Kingu, as you said, were the only two survivors of the First Great War.
You would waste your time. Citizen in the fleet that you have somehow summoned will be closing into the range of my outer defenses. Once they are there, I will crush them. And
you and Kingu wiped out all your masters, didn't you? You turned on those that made you, didn't you?
And so what if we did? They shunned us, treated us like second-hand garbage we'd cast away and forgotten.
The folks back home can never begin to understand, can they? How did Kingu feel about all this?
Why are you bringing all this up? Stalling will do you no good.
Because you and Kingu had become separated, you told us. The truth was she couldn't go on living with what she had done. She had had enough of it. The death, the destruction, the senseless killing.
Silence! You have no idea what you speak about.
I know exactly what I speak of. Why do you think I left the infantry? You read my war record. I killed Tana. I was a scared kid with a massive energy rifle in my hand, and I killed with it.
Shut up! Or I'll unleash my stone giants.
Come on, tell the truth. Kingu couldn't even stand to look at you anymore because all you wanted was to survive, no matter who or how many died.
I am warning you, Dr. Freedom.
Let me calm you with a story. Mostly conjecture, but she left you and she found herself in a very young solar system. She found a beautiful blue-green world teeming with life and decided she would spend the rest of her days defending it. She maneuvered herself into orbit and watched over it as she slowly weakened from starvation. She wanted nothing more to do with you.
I heard her death scream. She called out to me.
It wasn't her death scream, Tana, that you heard. The world she had come to rest around suffered a terrible impact, and she was powerless to stop it. It was a scream of pain, anguish, despair, compassion, sadness.
What was that noise?
I'd like to think that the mass extinction on the planet below not only fueled her enough to cry out, but to hang on just long enough to see that out of all that death, new life sprang and flourished. The world below became lush and green again. She's gone, Tana. Let her be.
I know it was the Theta Waver's experiments, Dr. Freeman. The only thing the files did not contain was the location. I tried to pry it from your mind when you first landed here, yet somehow you resisted me.
I know. Instead, you triggered a memory. I laughed and collapsed. Libby still protecting me, even now. Now, Eric.
You lied to me, Tana. There was never gonna be an end. You brought Dr. Freedom and Doc Schoffield here to tell you where your sister was, so Doc Schoffield could give you the theta wave technology to revive her.
To paraphrase an old Earth classic, MBD, I frankly don't give a damn. I will revive my sister, and I will no longer be alone. I'll make her see reasons, and we will. What have you done?
What had to be done, Tana. Making the best of two bad decisions. The crystal on top of the tower is now shattered, which means the environment outside will be collapsing, which means it's over for all of us. No more dome, no more protection, no more prisoners. I'm sorry, Pappy, but why are you carrying that pad?
I landed the Fitz, just outside. Get out there, get on your fancy hoverbike and go. I heard what you told the Bosun. I saw what you put together in that workshop. She's been toying with you. She disarmed your explosives the minute you walked to that door.
Pappy, I just can't leave you here.
I think there is some goodness left in her. You see, after she drained the others, she let me into her thought archive. That's how I survived so long without going crazy. When I wasn't working on my ship, she showed me other worlds, ruins, places so far away that mankind would likely wink out before they ever get that far. And it is enough.
Pappy, what are you doing?
Our warp drives may not have been well built back in the day, but there's a couple things we had on the old J-class that really shined. Really damn good wireless, and a remote-enabled self-destruct system.
Danger. The emergency destruct system is now activated. The ship will detonate in T-minus 10 minutes.
No, I refuse to believe this. No!
Pappy, come on. Come with me. You know I can't...
Sorry, John. I've lived too long. And you know those guys aren't gonna take off without you. Time's a-wasting. Now put on that helmet, get out there, get on that fancy bike, and go home. And remember me, guys. That's all I ask.
Ready for takeoff. Is Superfly in position?
He's on board the Hawk, ready on hyperdrive.
I'm getting no more bounce back on the radar. The dome is down. Gravity is now 1/6 Terra normal. Outside temperature, pressure, and environment is now that of a vacuum. Radar is picking up two small objects, approaching rapidly.
I'm picking up a signal. It's the boss.
Eric and I are hot. Open the port hangar door, and the second we're in, seal it and take off. Happy's gonna blow the antimatter on the Fitz.
Door mount reaction and fuel cells approach a critical mass.
They are in the hangar. Doors are closing.
Cuddle checks left off.
Now, what good would that accomplish now, Tana? Where we're going, I think forgiveness is a thing. Do the right thing now. Just this once.
I'm so tired.
I've heard it's also a place to rest.
Will I still be alone?
No, Tana. If what I've been told is true, I think Kingu will be there waiting for you.
Can I hope?
Everybody is allowed to hope, Tana. Looky here. I thought I lost this thing a long time ago.
Well, it's a good news, bad news story. The good news is the fleet received your signal. Bad news, the idiots didn't jump. So when the shockwave came from the explosion, most of the ships were severely damaged and crippled. Good news, there were no casualties. Bad news, well, for you guys, they won't be going back to the Hofodomo system anytime soon. And judging from the fact that the Border World's militia's already there, and the guy who negotiated the deal has been proved out to be a murderer, a racketeer, and countless knows how many other crimes, I don't think your annexation's gonna go through. But more good news, you may have lost your ship, but you're not gonna go home empty-handed. Look at this pretty little thing here.
What is that thing?
Another little gift from 30 years ago. One fully functional 3-man life pod from that other Hawk. I can almost place your accent, Toasty. Old London?
Yes. No one is somehow, fortunately. Is that Marenghi in there? That boy, why is he laying down on the job? Why is Tobias in there?
Okay, Doc, help me get him in there.
My goodness, he's so heavy.
And you're getting far too good at being sneaky with that thing.
You could have told Tanamaku, you know?
Price was too high. The good news is I have you a cover story. You tracked the infamous Tobias McGann here, and sitting next to him right there on that chair is a whole case filled with data pads with all the proof you need of all of his underworld crimes. You were at the academy, Toasty. I'm assuming you took Professor Pertwee's course on astronomy, right? You remember the extra credit question he always put on his exams?
Yes. Some nonsense about moons.
John, do you really want to tell?
It's okay, Doc. I think he's earned this one. In all the charted galaxies, there is one moon that does not make sense. Unlike all the others, it has a nearly perfect circular orbit. It does not rotate relative to the planet it revolves around, has large hollow cavities, and despite all theories, it doesn't truly seem to belong in the system it inhabits.
I got it wrong.
Well, next time you're home on leave, do me this one favor. When the night is bright and beautiful with stars, I want you to look up at the sky.
Why?
Because next time you stare at that beautiful wonder glowing up there in the night sky that's controlled the tides and influenced the hearts of men for countless ages, I just want you to think that even though we named her Luna, her real name, lost long ago to time, was Kingu.
What?
Will that be alright?
We'll be dropping him a system just off the space lanes. Bark's modified the beacon so it'll transmit a distress call out to about 10 light years. They'll be picked up within a couple days, and they got enough food, air, and water in there to last about 3 months.
Of all the planets in all the galaxies, I wonder why Kingu chose ours.
Serendipity, my dear Dr. Schoffield, serendipity. It's the closest thing to a god I believe in.